Hey guys, this is Michał from mdbootstrap.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create your own COVID-19 application by using MDB interactive data visualization components and fetching data from external source via JSON file. Please be aware, this will be rather advanced coding session, so you need to know HTML, CSS, basic JavaScript and Bootstrap to follow this tutorial. This is important because I won't go into every detail while coding, assuming you already know the basics. If you don't feel that your knowledge of HTML, CSS, JavaScript and Bootstrap is good enough, that's okay. Use our free tutorial, link in the description, to learn these basics. Then come back here and start advanced project like this COVID-19 app. In this tutorial, I am using MDB Pro Advanced, so you need to purchase it to follow this tutorial. I am also using this free COVID-19 API, which provides rich data about current situation related to pandemic. You will find links to these tools in the description. Alright, let's start coding. Open your MDB Pro package in your favorite code editor. As always, I am using Visual Studio Code. Then remove the existing content and leave only container. You can also add margin Y, let's say 5, to the container to provide a proper spacing from the top and bottom of our document. And then let's create 3 sections for our data visualization component. So the first section, we'll call it summary because it will be a summary of global cases. The next one will be a section for chart with cases for specific country. And the last one will be map with global cases for each country. We'll add a card inside every section and card body to provide the proper padding. And we can copy this. And we also add heading for each section. Now let's see how it looks in the browser. Alright, some spacing would be nice. And we also need to change these headings. So here will be chart and here will be global cases. And we'll add margin padding, margin bottom 5 to each section. Alright. In the first section, we'll add table, specifically a data table. So in MDB docs, let's type data table. And here we are looking for async data. So here's an example with data table loading data from external source via JSON file. So let's copy this example and paste it here. And this JavaScript code and let's see if it works. And yes, it works. So how this actually works? Let's have a look at the code. So as you can see here, we fetch a JSON file. If we copy this address and paste it into the browser, you will see all the data, and here we define which columns in our data table should be responsible for the field in our JSON file. Then we just fetch the data and update our data table with the data we just got from the JSON file. So let's find some nice JSON with COVID-19 data from the free service I found in the internet. You will find a link to this website in the description of this video. So here is a file with the summary. So if you paste it here, you will see a lot of data. For this specific case, for our data table, we are interested in this global object. So at the beginning, let's just copy this address and let's paste it here. And of course it won't work because we need to define, as you can see, our data table cannot get the data because first we need to define how exactly our data object looks like and which data we want to fetch from it. So have a look at this object. Here we have a property new confirmed, total confirmed, new devs, total devs. So we need to set a proper construction in our data object. So instead, let me just change it and let's set the proper names for our data object. So here we can name it like this. Here is a column name in our data table, and here is property name in our object. So it needs to be exactly the same as here in the JSON file. Here you can type whatever you want. So I'm not going to be too much creative on this, and I'm just giving an extra space here. We don't need this last one, so I can remove this. Now we need to tell our function that we want to fetch specifically this data from this global object. So let's update this function. And remove this. And let's see if it works. Yes, it works. So here we have our data, and right now we can see them in our data table. So because we have only a single row here, we don't need the pagination here, so we can disable this by defining an option in our data table. So pagination false, and it disappears. Now let's create a chart. So coming back to MDB docs, and let's type charts. And here we have a lot of examples of the charts, but actually we need an advanced example. So here we have a special docs dedicated to advanced chart documentation. So let's click this. And here at the bottom of the document, we have an example with the chart fetching the data from the JSON file. And this specific example actually fetched the data from the website providing data about COVID-19. So let's copy this starting from HTML and paste it to the chart section, and now JavaScript. Let's open new script tags and let's comment this properly. Let's see if it works. And yes, it works. So here we are fetching a new JSON file with a data for Poland. Actually, you can not choose the country you want to, whatever you want. Now, and we specify a data range. So here is the 1st of May and to the 1st of November. And here we have this JSON. As you can see, it starts from the 1st of May and the data end with the 1st of November. So we tell our chart to fetch a data from this JSON and specifically from every of this object in this global array, and then we specifically fetch the cases, and then we also fetch the date, and we subtract it to just get this part of the data. Then we update our labels and our data sets to our chart. All right. The last component we want to use is map. So for map we need a bit more complicated data structure. So we will use a special plugin in MDB named Data Parser, and here we have examples with different MDB components for data visualization, fetching data from different sources. So here we want to use a vector map with and fetch the data from the JSON. So let's copy this code starting from HTML and then let's copy JavaScript code. All right, the map appears. So now we need to adjust it. So let's remove this background color because we want it to be the same color as the chart. All right, and let's change these columns for legend to 4 and here to 8 to provide proper composition. Alright, better. And now coming back to JS. And here I can see some mistake in MDB docs. We need to remove these characters because otherwise it won't be properly rendered by a browser. Alright, now it's okay. We need to fix it in MDB docs, so sorry for that. And now let's grab our JSON and replace this with JSON address. And now if we want to have the same coloristic on the map as on the chart, we need to change here. Wait. All right. And here we define steps. So the steps tells us how many cases are on the specific country. So the darker color, the more cases. So let's use the same color base as above. And by using transparency, we'll define the shades for each country depending on the number of cases. So we are interested in this data, total confirmed. So let's copy this. And here we specify which data we want to fetch. So total confirmed, and here we specify the steps, let's say 100,000. So with every new step, the color for the country will change depending on these definitions. All right, and we also need country identifier, so now we can connect the proper data to the proper country. So as we can see, here is name country, not country code. All right, and let's name it cases here. And now we need to define a proper data structure. So we want to fetch data from the countries array. So here is our array countries. All right. Oops, sorry. And here we are. It works. So as you can see, the darker color, the more cases. Actually, let's make it a bit darker. So let's say instead of 0.05, 0.4555, Alright, now I think it's better. United States, Russia. We also don't need this population heading. It's white color, so that's why we cannot see it properly. But I'm going to remove this because we don't need this. We have our heading here. So here. All right, better. So as you can see, it's interactive, and we can zoom it and hover the country and see the cases. So the last thing we can do, it would be nice to have a proper contrast with the background of the body. So we can add class BG light. Now it's dark light, and here we are. Our app is ready.